Okay, so this is unusual. The way my reviews work is that a manufacturer or distributor will see my videos, then send me an email asking if I would like to review their product. Maybe I'll be more proactive in future, but right now I just sit back and wait for invitations. I do reject some if I don't think the item is appropriate for my viewers, or if I feel that I'm not appropriate, then it's a no. Also items that, although they might be perfectly fine, are too similar to what I've covered recently. But as I said, unusual. Hearing aids. Okay, I get this. Someone from the company sees me in my videos and thinks, he's an old geezer. He must need hearing aids by now. I said yes. I mean, why not? And so I have the Elehear Beyond over-the-counter hearing aids to try out. You know, since this is a much more serious topic than my other reviews, I thought I'd skip the unboxing and get stuck straight in. But the packaging is too lovely for that. Here's what you get. I told you, lovely packaging, and not, in my opinion, overdone. And one thing that I really have found important through the course of really quite a lot of reviews, is it easy to store the item in its box? It's a yes to that. And having reviewed stuff that has loads of bits but just will not go back in, yes, I value reusable packaging. Now, important stuff here. I know nothing. I have no qualifications in audiology or biology of any kind. Not even an O-level. So basically you can't trust anything I say. This review in its entirety is just a layperson's opinion. Having said that though, if no one was ever allowed to say anything about anything without having a high-level qualification, I don't think the world would be in a better place for it. Oh, by the way, I have a degree in audio. I just thought I'd throw that in. So I'll just say once more, I'm just an ordinary punter of a certain age who wonders whether he's ready for hearing aids. And I'm going to talk about the topic. By all means, listen to what I have to say, but after that you'll need to check things out with your own research. Here's a good starting point. People tend to get hearing aids 10 years after they need them. I didn't make that up. It's something I heard somewhere, but I think there's more than a grain of truth in it. So do I need hearing aids? Did I need them 10 years ago? How have I been managing all this time? Well, I've been managing just fine. I can go through all of my daily activities without any problems. Chatting to dog walkers as I go about my exercise. Buying my favourite alcohol-free beer in the supermarket. Pull the other one. Listening to music on speakers or headphones. Testing review gear, watching TV. Entertaining house guests. Going to classical music concerts. Oh yes, you don't get more audiophile than that. All fine. Absolutely, perfectly fine. No hearing issues. Everything is as loud as I like it to be. In fact, at concerts, I like to be close to the front, and I wouldn't want it louder. And as clear and as full, frequency ranged, even if I know I have some high-end loss. But then there is the issue. the issue that many people with a hearing problem struggle with. Understanding speech in a noisy environment, like a pub or a restaurant. So, let's say you're in a restaurant, maybe on a double date. Come on, let's imagine we have social lives. And there's a conversation going on between the other 3 members of the party, but you're struggling to keep up because of the background chatter from nearby tables. Classic. Absolutely classic. Now, this is where I wonder to myself whether this is because of my degraded hearing, or maybe it's because my ears are really quite flat to my head. If I go like this, I can hear everything. All the hearing aids I actually need are wedges behind my ears. If I sound like I'm making a joke, I'm not. If my ears were a bit more sticky out, I wouldn't have a problem at all. I'm saying this to put a benchmark on my own experience, so that what I say here will hopefully have a reasonable amount of meaning to my viewers. If you have difficulty in bars and restaurants, try it. If you still can't hear, and others can, then yes, you do have a problem. In my layperson's possibly meaningless opinion, of course. Before I talk about the Elehear Beyond hearing aids, there is a point I need to clear up. There are such things as audiophile hearing aids, aids that are meant to improve your hearing in the sense of enjoying sound more, whether natural or reproduced. I say audiophile as a kind of a shorthand, so don't think I'm talking about crazy woo-woo or anything like that. I'm thinking about, say, a musician who wants to hear a full, flat frequency range with natural dynamics. From what I see from some time spent on Google, the focus of most hearing aids is to be able to understand speech better, which really is a different thing. Neither is better, neither is worse. It depends what result you want. The Elehear Beyond hearing aids, I'm pretty sure, from what I've read from their promotional material, from the manual, and from actually using them, they're intended mostly for the intelligibility of speech. Another point, also important, is that other than directed towards audiophile use or speech, hearing aids fall into 2 classes. Those you need to visit an audiologist for and get a prescription, and those you can buy over-the-counter with no examination. Over-the-counter, or OTC, is a term that's used in this context. As I understand things, if you have a mild problem, OTC is fine. If your hearing loss is more severe, you'll need a proper examination and prescription aids. Worse than that would be cochlear implants, but I'll have to leave that to your own research if you have that degree of need. I put a link in the description to some useful information about OTC aids, the pros and the cons. Okay, let's see what we have here. In terms of form factor, the Elehear Beyond aids are remarkably like regular earbuds. They come in a charging case, you pair them with your phone and stick them in your ears. Okay, and over your ears as well. That's starting to remind me of in-ear monitors, IEMs. There's a degree of familiarity here, and why not? Since people in general seem to be reluctant to get the assistance they need, if hearing aids can be normalised, surely that's going to be a good thing. Here's a point. Earbuds have ear tips that fit into the ears. Hearing aids apparently have ear domes. Anyway, your favourite ear tips won't fit on these aids. I tried it. Oh, and I said pair them with your phone. Well, listening to audio from your phone isn't the point, although you can. The point is to help you hear speech more clearly. Speech as in an actual person talking to you. The point of pairing the Elehear Beyonds with your phone is to use the app. Everything has an app these days, often pointlessly, but in this case the app is genuinely useful and not too much of a faff. Of course, you'll need to set up an account, ignore the terms and conditions, and wonder where your data is being harvested. But that's normal these days, isn't it? The app includes a hearing test. I did try a hearing test app before, but for accurate results you needed to have certain headphones. With the Elehear Beyond, the app knows the characteristics of the aids, so it can possibly be more accurate. But the analysis isn't all that detailed. Apparently, I have mild hearing loss, and that's all I know. What the app will do for you is allow you to easily adjust the volume, balance, background noise rejection, directionality and brightness of the sound. There's also a setting to focus on speech, also phone call boost. But since I don't seem to need that feature myself, I'll give it a miss for now. Let's look at the app. I think it's fairly obvious from this screenshot. Controls for level left and right, enhanced for speech, background noise control, directionality and tuning. The tuning page gives you level control again, but also a setting for the brightness of the sound. This is something you can choose for yourself, and as you can see, I've chosen to tone it down a little. There's an option for tinnitus sufferers to have background noise of various types, which I imagine would mask the tinnitus to an extent. Fortunately for me, I'm not a sufferer, so I can't say how effective it might be. Let me comment on how well some of the features work. Firstly, speech focus. Switching this on, well, I wouldn't say it makes a huge difference, but it's definitely noticeable and definitely useful. So that's a yes. Noise control. Well, this is a context you have to prepare yourself for. If you have earbuds, you'll know that ambient noise reduction can be very useful. With the earbuds I use, I get very good reduction for really a quite tiny effect on audio quality. The thing is, though, that earbuds deal with the audio they are outputting and the noise coming from outside. With hearing aids, the sound coming from outside, i.e. the person speaking to you, is exactly what you want to hear, and it's combined with the outside noise. So I'd imagine that it's a much more difficult task to separate out the noise and lower it in level. Bearing this in mind, therefore, the amount of noise reduction is, I'd say, very good. I'll say a little more about this in a moment. So I needed to test the Elehear Beyonds in a real-world setting, a restaurant. So I asked food journalist Maria Meller to choose a restaurant and set things up. She chose a vegetarian restaurant. Honestly, I've nothing against vegetarians, but come on, do I look like one? Anyway, the restaurant was the Chennai Sri Lalitha Vegetarian Restaurant in the lovely Buckinghamshire town of Amersham. Apart from the lack of carnivorosity, the food was first class. We ordered extra and I took home a doggy bag and enjoyed it just fine. The service was also first class and the staff were very tolerant of Maria reciting "I wandered lonely as a cloud" to me many times over to check all the settings. So, what did I find out? Well, in my obviously subjective layperson's opinion, that doesn't mean a thing, I found out that I don't really have a hearing problem. It was difficult to find a setting that improved intelligibility without the sound becoming what I would consider a little harsh. Thinking about it, though, this is what's going to happen for someone who doesn't yet need hearing aids. There's a frequency response boost between about 2 and 4 kHz, which is the important range of speech frequencies, but it's also the range, according to the famous Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Munson, where the ear in a person with normal hearing is most sensitive. And, according to my amateur researches, it's the range, particularly with noise-induced hearing loss, that commonly goes first. So to expand on that, someone who genuinely has hearing loss will find their loss compensated for, to hopefully a useful extent, by the boost around 2 to 4 kHz. Someone with normal hearing, or in my case only mild hearing loss, will hear those frequencies possibly to excess. In my restaurant test, I found the clatter of plates and cutlery to be really quite irritating, and the noise control feature, effective though it is on wideband constant noise, didn't seem to work too well for me on that. I'm going to summarise, and don't click away because if you're interested in OTC hearing aids, you need this. Firstly, I'm a layperson and I know nothing. Secondly, having tried these aids, I don't think I'm a candidate for hearing aids yet. Speech with these aids is definitely more clear, particularly with front speech focus. There is, however, a balance to be found between increased intelligibility and the sound becoming harsh. Background noise is reduced, but in my subjective experience, not all background noise, such as the clatter of plates in a restaurant. A card in the box recommends taking 3 to 4 weeks, up to 3 to 4 hours daily, for your brain and ears to get used to the aids. My layperson's opinions here are based on my initial tests and short periods of use. Lastly, until you visit an audiologist, which I yet haven't plucked up the courage to do so, and I suspect neither have you will be comforted that there's a 45-day trial period during which Elehear will cover return shipping costs, repairs, exchanges and refunds. That's from their website. This has been a bit longer than my usual reviews, but it's a topic that needs closer examination. I haven't covered everything here, so there's more for you to learn from the Elehear website, linked below, and of course from other videos and reviews. In summary, this has been an interesting and enlightening experience. I genuinely didn't know whether a pair of OTC aids would be suitable for me. As of now, I don't think I need them. But the next time I'm in a restaurant and I'm saying, "Hey, what? Speak up," maybe I'll try them again. See you soon.